Today, the area along the Tulpehocken Creek is a multi-use historical center in Berks County. Many locals use the Union Canal towpath for recreation, cycling, or even looking for various wildlife in the area. The area is also rich with history, from the Union Canal to the Gruber Wagon Works and many other historical locations. Could all of this history combined with some tragic events make this 4.5-mile stretch the most haunted location in Berks County? Let's find out. Wertz Covered Bridge. The 204-span covered bridge, currently the longest covered bridge standing in Pennsylvania, crosses the Tulpehocken Creek. Walking across the bridge, admiring its architecture, you could almost hear the horse-drawn carriages clopping across the bridge, or imagine young couples stealing kisses under its dark crevices. Legend states that you can also hear the cries of a baby from the bridge. It's the story of a distraught young woman dropping the infant from the bridge to the creek below. To this day, we have been unable to confirm the story, and we have not heard the cries of the baby. This is just one of the many mysteries tied to the area. Kissinger's Church Graveyard. 1.5 miles away sits Kissinger's Church and its adjacent graveyard. On August 3, 1922, the Reading Times reported that several campers, bathers, and pleasure seekers were disturbed by many ghosts running wild within the cemetery. One man was so concerned he asked county authorities to carry a gun to knock off some of the ghosts. Were these restless spirits from the cemetery, or perhaps they are connected to other events we are about to talk about? Or maybe, as one detective said, could they have been members of the Ku Klux Klan, stirring things up in the area? Deppen Cemetery. The cemetery has been at its current location since 1978. However, the first burial took place in 1808 and the last one in 1915. This is just the beginning of the many mysteries surrounding this small cemetery. In 1978, the cemetery was known as the Catholic Cemetery. It was several miles upstream from the Tulpehocken Creek, right in the middle of the Blue Marsh Lake project. During the planning of the lake, the Army Corps of Engineers reached out to living descendants of those buried in the cemetery and offered several options for the remembrance of their ancestors. The decision was made to move the remains and the grave markers and lay them out in the same way at its new location. Artifacts and remains were removed from the graves, as well as 1 cubic foot of soil was dug from each grave and placed in a pine box and buried at the new site. During excavation, they also discovered at least 20 unmarked graves. Historians say these are the graves of Irish immigrants who came to America for a better opportunity. They perished while building the Union Canal of what was called Canal Fever. They were buried in unmarked graves in the cemetery, forever nameless and perpetually anonymous. There are many melancholy tales of spirits being seen and heard between the gravestones of the cemetery. Could they be the unsettled spirits of those who were moved to a new resting place, or are they the Irish laborers trying to get their story heard? Lock 49, Louisa Bissinger. Further along the trail, you'll reach the location of an early Berks County tragedy and most infamous hauntings. On August 16, 1875, Luisa Bissinger gathered her children for what she told them would be a picnic along the Union Canal. According to witnesses at the time, they appeared to be a typical family heading out with picnic baskets. However, Mrs. Bissinger, who was distraught over the news of her husband's affairs, had another thing planned. While walking along the canal, she played a game with her children, having them collect rocks and placing them in baskets. When she reached the area of Lock 49, she tied the baskets around her waist, huddled her children together, and jumped into the canal. Hours later, authorities pulled the bodies of Louisa and her children Molly, Lily, and Philip from the water and laid them out on the banks to be identified by the coroner. Many people have claimed to see the spirit of Louisa Bissinger and her children walking and suddenly vanishing down the path. Many people also feel the sadness while approaching Lock 49, much like Louisa Bissinger felt on that fateful day. With all of this history, folklore, and tragedy that surrounds this area, it's no surprise that this could be one of the most haunted locations in Berks County. When visiting the area, should you feel a cold rush of air on a warm summer day or see a wispy figure crossing the path before you, don't be alarmed. You might just be mingling with some mysteries from the past. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay curious, keep an open mind, and keep listening because the spirits of the past have a story to tell.